Mental professionals of Reddit, what is the worst mental condition that you know of? Have a friend who works with seriously disturbed patients, and told me about a woman that habitually drank hand sanitizer. Apparently when you do that, your joints lock up and you have to be immediately rushed to the ER for treatment. And what do they have in the ER? Every 10 feet or so? Yeah. More hand sanitizer. So this woman would have to be restrained, otherwise they would find her in the hallway pumping it directly into her mouth all over again. I have a friend with schizophrenia and it's hell for her. I'm not a professional, but I have an immediate family member who is a diagnosed schizophrenic and borderline personality. It's one hell of a combo. I'm not a professional, but after seeing the damage dementia can do, I can't imagine anything else would hold a candle to easy, grandma, heart. People who can fall asleep quickly, how do you do it? Exhaustion. A really comfortable bed and a weighted blanket with the windows open. I can fall asleep instantly. I shut my eyes and notice whatever mental images pop up first, then just watch as they shift and change. I close my eyes and go honk shoo. Make a fantasy story you want to be the main character in. Continue writing the story in your head each time you go to sleep. My story doesn't go too far, cause I'm usually passed out debating on details I want to add to the scenes. I get lost in my mind thinking of random scenarios. I've made a point of not going to bed until I'm actually tired, even if it means I'm going to bed 7 hours before I need to get up instead of increase in the quality of my sleep. I've gone from being tortured every night lying awake to asleep in minutes. People who quit a job on the first day, what happened? I was hired as a cook at a Huddle house. On my first day I learned that they lied about which shifts I'd have in the interview. I'd be expected to basically run the restaurant alone on graveyard shift after only a week of training, and this place was violating health codes left and right. When I was around 14 I worked for Dickie D Ice Cream, think Canadian Good Humor, for one day riding a bicycle cooler. You were paid a commission based on what you sold, but you had to pay for your dry ice. Long story short, you had to ride that thing all day in blazing heat to make virtually no money. This was in the mid-80s, I hope this is illegal now. Second day sweating my ass off in the kitchen on a hot summer day. Asked for a glass of water and the owner made me pay for it. Finished my shift and never went back. What are weird jobs nobody knows about but they pay well? I once met a professional ice sculptor who made a killing at corporate events and weddings. It's a niche skill, but the pay is pretty impressive. My sister-in-law is the nose for Yankee Candle. When a vat of scented wax is ready, she sniffs it. I make teeth on a computer. I use a CAD/CAM program to design crowns and bridges for dental laboratories. I work remotely and do pretty well. My dad was a master flavorist. He made artificial flavors for candy, beverages and lots of other things. He made a lot of money during his career. I play trumpet for a touring Broadway show. Not that weird, but it's amazing how few people know there are real musicians playing live below the stage. Cardiovascular perfusionist. Can't have open heart surgery without us, but almost no one knows we exist. What do you get someone for Christmas when they are wealthy enough that they just buy anything they want? I bake for people. My sister is very wealthy and hard to buy for. Last Christmas I got her a cutting board that was engraved with our grandmother's handwritten recipe card. She loved it. Sentimental gifts or things that a person would buy for themselves are always appreciated. Experiences get them tickets to a sporting event, show, fair, wine cheese tasting, historical tour, etc. whatever they are interested in. I prefer experiences to things because things don't always stick around, but your memories, pictures, videos etc. do. Smiley face. Something handmade, personal and emotive. A goat from that charity that gives villagers goats? What improved your quality of life so much you wish you did it sooner? Dumped all the toxic people I knew. Drink more water, like instead of having a glass of soda just change it for a glass of water. Also not having a large dinner after 1800. Getting a regular amount of sleep and trying to get exercise daily. Recognizing when a negative emotion, or a distracting mental habit was entering my mind and taking proper control of it rather than having it control me. I have symptoms of ADHD, OCD, and addiction, although none have been diagnosed. Any of them would be minor at worst. But I'm getting better at acknowledging these thoughts and feelings, being present and letting them exist, but keeping them under control at the same time, or saying I'm too busy to engage with it. Stop drinking. 3 years on Jan 1. What is that one thing that you have invested thousands of hours working on it and now it's useless? My degree in education, when I realized on my first day of teaching that I picked the wrong major. I have a 2 terabytes hard drive that contained about 10 years of my digital life, mostly photos and videos. I had transferred the contents of 3 older computers to it before wiping those drives and recycling them through local tox drop services. Then about a year after I got it, it made that terrible click and chirp sound. I've tried it probably 50x in hope of it working, but I read a little about that and likely made it worse. Now I have a little box of irrecoverable ones and zeros. I practiced piano for hours every day for 15 years, performed in multiple countries, originally went to college for it. Hooray arthritis. It is probably good that Reddit doesn't have a running counter of how many hours I've been staring at this thing. What is the biggest cultural shock you experienced when going to someone else's house? When I was a teen, I was genuinely shocked to see that other families actually loved each other and wanted to interact and say nice things to each other. I kept expecting it to turn dark, and when it didn't I had no idea what to do and felt completely ashamed and out of place. As a kid, it was clear my family sucked at snacks. Hung out with my college roommate's family around Christmas. No books in the house, none. This was early aughts. She told me her parents didn't want challenging books in their house to make the kids feel stupid. The parents were professors at our college. My roommate and her siblings were fucking stupid. What was the worst time you've ever been sick? I had a cold and a torn ab muscle at the same time. Sneezing was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I got swine flu H1N1 a few years back. I've never been so sick. I got food poisoning at the very beginning of a 48-hour Greyhound bus ride across the US. It was a nightmare. Norovirus. Right now. Bell's palsy. Where your nervous system randomly says, hey, you know how you use your whole face to do things like eat, talk, blink, smile, and sleep? Well, what if you couldn't? What's a controversial red flag that you have? Looking at the comments, I don't think most Redditors know what controversial means. Say that being on social media all the time is bad and still going there all the time. I will very often not reply to texts. I simply don't see a need to make a random filler sentence when I have nothing to say, especially if it's going to devolve into a long string of filler sentences because nobody wants to be the one that leaves them on read. If I have something to say, I will text you. Can't handle money because I grew up I'm not poor anymore and earn a decent wage, gonna be much more when I graduate soon, but every cent that comes in is gone at the end of the T. Really see the worth of money somehow. I buy a lot and also give away a lot. I got a Soviet flag somewhere in my little flag collection. Is that a controversial red flag? I think that all men who speak a word with me are into me. For my revenge I choose gossiping around about people who did me dirty. What's the minimum amount of money that could solve 90 of all your problems right now? $2. Deposit in first month rent on my own place so I can get out of this 3-4 house. I'm 8 months clean. Go me. $24,000. Basically if my rent were paid for a year I can solve so many other issues. $20,120 to pay off the Helic and my debt, and pay me to stay home for a year. I have metastatic breast cancer and I am so tired. I mean, I'm hungry and I don't get paid until tomorrow, so like $20 off car loan and school loans. What's the worst gift someone has given you? An expensive and lovely gift basket full of gourmet foods, none of which I could eat because of life-threatening food allergies. The person who gave it knew about the allergies. My divorce papers came in the mail on my birthday. Does that count? I've got mom gave me her high school diploma 1 year for Christmas when I was me, but a dear friend had a boyfriend of 6-ish months. She'd recently celebrated his birthday with a nice home-cooked meal, flowers, a creative date night, and a jersey for his favorite team. A month later was her 30th birthday. No dinner, no flowers, all she received was a box of K-Cups from Walmart, $9.97 on rollback. Which celebrities have a wildly different personality from their public persona? Many years ago, I was fortunate to have drinks with a group of chefs that included Gordon Ramsay. I know he's been shown to not really be the raging hothead he is portrayed as. But he really could not have been a nicer guy. Matt Berry. He's wacky, brash, loud and obnoxious on screen. In most interviews I've seen him in, he's very quiet and is serious when talking about his music especially. In group cast interviews, he always seems to be the quietest, mainly sitting back and letting the others handle the questions. Dean Martin wasn't quite a teetotaler, but pretty close to it. The whiskey he was always drinking on stage or on camera was usually apple juice. Alice Cooper is a good example. Which celebrity gives you I made a bargain with my soul vibes? Kris Jenner. Joel Osteen gives me Antichrist vibes. Jared Leto. I can't think of a celebrity who gives off weirder vibes. How so many people died around him. And how much he paid to shut up Cassie. Logan Jake Paul. DJ doesn't seem like he has any discernible talent or skills beyond being really self-confident. Tom Cruise. The entire Kardashian family seems like they are just hell's royalty visiting the earth. Ellen gives Elle nonchalantly expose your life to the world for no reason right now, sacrifice you and replace you later vibes. Ellen. Travis Scott. Nancy Grace. On second thought she might actually be the devil. Tom Cruise. There's a malice in those eyes.